Welcome to Module 8. In the previous module, we discussed arrays of characters and how they differed from other types of arrays. Here, you'll see more special operations aside from the character case conversion and character testing. To add these operations, C++ includes a special library called the CString library. This library includes operations such as getting the length of a string of characters, appending to strings, and searching for a particular string inside of a larger string of characters. Here we shall discuss the functions that make up that library and how to use them in your programs. Before, we've learned that when dealing with arrays of characters, we have to go character by character to make any sort of changes. The following table demonstrates a number of useful functions that the CString library has to offer. The CString header file must be included in the program for them to function properly. Below is a list of the functions included in this library. String length returns the length of a CString. String concatenate appends string 2 to string 1. String copy copies the contents of string 2 into string 1. String and concatenate appends string 2 onto string 1 using an integer to indicate the maximum number of characters to append. String and copy copies the contents of string 2 into string 1 using an integer to indicate the maximum number of characters to be copied. String compare compares two strings, and the function string searches for an occurrence of string 2 inside string 1. Illustrated on the right side of the table are examples of how to use each one of these functions. The string length function accepts a CString or a pointer to a CString and returns its length up to but not including the null terminator. Below is an example. This program declares an array called name and initializes it with the word Felix. Then the length is calculated using string length and then printed on the console. The results can be seen below. It reads, the name Felix is 5 characters long. On the right, the string compare function accepts two CStrings, or pointers to a CString. They are both compared, and if the contents are equal, it will return 0. If they are the same size but contain different CStrings, or CString 2 is larger, it returns -1. If CString 1 contains more characters, it returns +1. The example program contains 3 different strings that are compared to one another using string compare. The results are printed on the console. The first time it compares the first string to itself, returning 0. Then the other two strings are compared to each other, returning -1 since they are both of the same length. Finally, the second string is compared with the first one, resulting in +1, since string 2, Jeremy, is longer than string 1, Felix. The string concatenate function accepts two CStrings or two pointers to CStrings as arguments, and the second string is appended to the end of the first string. The string and concatenate function differs from string concatenate in that it accepts an integer as a third argument. Since string concatenate has no boundaries when appending, the integer would indicate the maximum number of characters that will be appended to avoid writing out of boundaries. Here we have a program that uses them both. We have 4 character arrays to hold hello, world, hello, and universe, respectively. In line 13, we use string concatenate to concatenate string 2 into string 1. Since string 1 is long enough to hold the result of the concatenation, it holds the complete sentence as printed on the console. String 1 now contains hello world. On line 17, we use string and concatenate to concatenate string 3 and string 4 together. The function receives these two strings along with the maximum number of characters which was calculated in the previous line. Since string 3 is not long enough to store the result of the concatenation, it only stores until the array is full, adding a null character at the end and discarding the rest. The result is printed in the console. String 3 now contains hello universe. The string copy function accepts two C strings or two pointers to C strings as arguments and copies the second string to the first string. The string copy function differs from string copy in that it accepts an integer as a third variable, used to indicate the maximum number of characters to copy because string copy can potentially write past its boundaries if the string being copied is larger than the array is being copied to. In this program, we have three strings that hold the words hello, goodbye, and see you later. We use string copy on line 13 to copy the contents of string 2 into string 1. The contents are completely copied since string 1 is large enough to contain string 2. On line 17, we copy the contents of string 3 into string 1 up to the 8th character, which is the amount of characters that string 1 can hold. The result of these operations can be seen printed on the console. Take note that if you don't copy the complete C string from string 2, and the C string in string 1 is larger than the number of characters copied, you must append a null terminator at the end of it, or it will keep reading. The string function accepts two C strings or pointers to C strings as arguments and searches for the first occurrence of the second string in the first string. If it is found, then the address of the first letter will be returned. If it is not, then 0 will be returned. From the example program, we can see how this function works. We declared a string that holds I love C++ programming. We then use string to find the first occurrence of the string C++. It then finds it and returns the address of where the occurrence begins. Finally, it prints the string starting from that address. Cout continues to print until it finds the null character. String pointer in this example is a pointer. It holds an address of a string and not the actual string. The string function is useful for searching for data inside a string, and it's practical for searching through a list of items. And in case you're wondering what a pointer is, they will be further discussed in the following module.